I don't know. It seems to be a package from Honor, is what it says. Let's see, we're gonna unbox it on our table. नहीं यार, कुछ पेपर पागल हो गया. ओके डन. ओ यार ये क्या पैकेजिंग है भाई, चोर की कुछ टूटे ना. So there we have the Honor 20, but let's keep that aside because the other box looks more interesting. So I'm gonna unbox this. They're not gonna let me do that, but let me do that.
Guys, just so you know, you deserve better.
So this is probably the most interesting thing we've ever gotten inside a box. This is almost like a hammer. Let's try if it actually works.
Oh.
It works. It seems like there's something to break, and they say you deserve better.
Exactly.
So they might deserve better something. Let's see.
It's glass. Sounds like emergency.
So they're saying break it because you deserve better. So let's break it.
Whoa.
It's not breaking. Yes, we've broken it. So we've actually broken it, and inside is the Honor 20i. There are some marks on the box as well. Let's move to another room where we don't have these jokers. So now that you saw that aggressive, violent unboxing of the Honor 20i, because apparently you deserve better. Now that I've done that, I've actually spent almost 12 hours with the phone, and hence in this video I'm going to give you a first impressions of the Honor 20i. Now to start with the first thing that you see when you take a phone out of the box, and that is the design. Now the design of the Honor 20i actually reminds me a lot of, I think, the Nova phones, the Nova 3 and the Nova 3i. So this is actually more curved than the Nova 3i and looks more like the Nova 3. Of course with more cameras on this. So it has that gradient at the back in the shades of blue that Honor has been known for a long time. Even Huawei has been known for that for a long time. Nowadays you see a lot of phones with gradients, but I have to tell you that Huawei and Honor were the ones that started this whole revolution. Now coming from that design, the best thing that I like about the phone is actually a physical capacitive fingerprint scanner. Oh god, I've loved them. I don't like those in-display fingerprint scanners. I don't like that pop-up camera face unlock. Of course I like face unlock, but I don't like anything getting out of the phone, coming out of the phone to make sure that I unlock the phone with my face. This is very reassuring. Having a physical capacitive fingerprint scanner on the Honor 20i is really good. Now another thing with the design that might disappoint some of you is the micro USB port at the bottom. It is time that we start seeing USB-C port, and Huawei being a company that has that kind of authority, that has that kind of technology working for it, I think USB-C ports is something they could have easily got inside this phone. So just another small thing that I just noticed while taking a look at this phone was that the micro USB port and the headphone jack and even the speaker grills are actually a little more inside the phone than I would have actually liked. What that means is that the bottom chassis is thicker than I would have expected, and in practice, in real life, how that would make a difference is that the cable that you get inside the box needs to have a longer male port, and this one will of course have it, but when you're using micro USB ports from other phones, maybe getting charged from someone else, it might pose a problem if that port is not long enough. Apart from that, at the back it's quite clean. You just have the Honor branding and the AI camera branding, which reads like this because they want you to hold the phone like this because it's a camera focused phone. So coming to display, this one has a 6.21 inch Full HD Plus display. So I think at this price, Full HD Plus displays are the most that you get. Even at 30,000-40,000 price, people are selling phones with Full HD Plus display. So I don't think we have a problem there. Even the bezels are quite small. You have that small notch here, water drop, dew drop. There are a lot of names out there, but that is the small notch on the display. You have a 6.21-inch diagonal, and the chin is also actually not too big. It's actually quite comparable to all the other phones out there. Now from display, we generally go to software, but software being a tricky topic for Huawei phones and Honor phones today, let's take that at the last. Now coming to the internals of the phone, we have the Kirin 710 inside the Honor 20i. Now Kirin 710 is to Honor and Huawei phones what Snapdragon 625 is to Xiaomi, because they've used this processor for a lot of phones. So the Honor 8X last year even had the Kirin 710, the Honor 10 Lite had the Kirin 710, and now this one has a Kirin 710 as well. Now the Kirin 710 is actually an octa-core processor with a big little architecture. So the higher power cores, the 4 cores are the A73 Cortex A73 cores, and the low power ones are Cortex A53 cores. What that means is that this is a very powerful processor. A73 is considered to be one of the best cores from Cortex. That's it, it's not the latest one out there. Even if we had a hexa-core structure maybe, or even an octa-core, a big little structure with only 2 A76 cores maybe, or A75 cores, and the others being A53 cores, that would have been good, maybe a new processor. But the only problem, at least on paper, is that when comparing to other processors like the Snapdragon 675 and the Snapdragon 710, they use cryo cores for the higher powered ones, and cryo cores are more mature and more powerful than Cortex A73 cores. Now what that means is that on paper, I don't think the Kirin 710 will be able to compete with the Snapdragon 675 and 710 that are in the market right now with the Realme 3 Pro, the Redmi Note 7 Pro. Although that said, I am someone who believes in the philosophy of not going to processors per se, not going to on paper specifications, and actually judging phones with the performance, with the experience that they give, and we'll do that in the full review. So let me know if you actually want to see a full review of the Honor 20i. We'll do that. Put that in the comment section down below, and also if you want to see comparisons of the 20i with other phones, let me know that as well. But another thing is that this comes with 4GB RAM and 128GB storage. So yes, this only comes in one variant, that is 4GB RAM and 128GB storage. That's a weird combination. We have generally seen phones with 6GB RAM and 128, maybe 4 and 64, but we have 4 gigs of RAM and 128GB storage. So what do you know? For people who want storage, you have 128 gigs of it. Now from the performance area, let's finally go to the thing that a lot of people want to know about probably, and that is the camera of the Honor 20i. So the Honor 20i has 3 cameras at the back. It's a triple camera setup and a single camera at the front. Now the camera at the front is actually a 32 megapixel camera. This one could be a Samsung GD1 sensor. We don't know for sure. Honor and Huawei haven't leaked that out, haven't told us what that sensor is, but with 32 megapixels, Samsung GM1 is probably the only commercially available sensor. At the back, you have a 24 megapixel main sensor with an f1.8 aperture. The second one is an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens. So you have a wide lens on the Honor 20i as well. And the third one is a 2 megapixel depth sensor. What that means is while there are other phones in this price range with probably better processors, the camera array on this one is really interesting. We don't know how the camera quality turns out for sure, so we'll know that in the full review when we've done all our tests, but we're not gonna let you go home without anything. So here are a few pictures taken using the Honor 20i, front camera and back camera, and let us know what you think of those pictures. Now we move to the battery of the phone, and we have a 3400 mAh battery. Now that might seem lower compared to the competition where we have 4000 mAh and 3700 mAh batteries, but I think that's a good enough compromise considering that this is very thin when it comes to the profile, and there are other phones in this price range but they are slightly on the thicker side. 3400 mAh battery, and you get 10 watt charging inside the box. Now these are things that you actually get with other phones in this price range as well, but I think it's a good package. It's not bad at all. But let's talk about the most important thing that we wanted to talk about, and that is software. Now inside this you get Android 9 Pie with EMUI 9 as well. Now we've talked a lot about EMUI in a lot of our reviews, so I don't think I need to explain what EMUI is like. for the people who don't know at all and don't want to take out the time to watch other videos from Mr. Phone, although I hate you if you don't watch other videos. What I can tell you is that EMUI is a skinned version of Android. It's actually closer to stock Android compared to others because it comes with an app drawer and it looks quite clean. EMUI has been worked on to make sure that it becomes cleaner, and over time it has become better. That's it for people who don't like a lot of colors in their UI. EMUI is not the best OS to go for. But that is not the most important thing here. The most important thing is, what about the Huawei ban from US? What about Google not giving any more updates to Huawei? What should we do about that? Should we buy an Honor phone right now? What about existing Honor phones? Since we have no official statement from Google or Huawei on what the fate of these devices is yet, at least from my knowledge, what I can say is that I expect Huawei to get this sorted very easily. Huawei is not gaining anything by fighting US because they're going to lose a lot of business, mostly their smartphone business and the laptop business as well. US is also not gaining anything. Most of the big brands in US are manufacturing most of their stuff in China. What that means is that the only reason US and those companies are able to gain that kind of profits on their products is because they're being able to manufacture all of them at such low costs in China. So I don't think this fight is helping anyone. With that, I leave you to it. Thank you so much for watching. Wait for the full review of this phone, of the Honor 20 and the 20 Pro, coming later. And with that, thank you so much for watching. This is Sreehari with the Honor 20i from Mr. Phone, and I'll catch you in the next one.